In 1996, Japanese scientist Satoshi Tajiri published a monograph describing 151 species of organisms known as pocket monsters. His work laid the taxonomic foundation for the monster Cincinu, but it relied entirely on simple, pre-Darwinian observational methods. Today, that initial list has expanded to include 646 described taxa. This volume of discovery has outpaced traditional classification systems, which struggle to account for the diversity found beyond the original Kanto species. The foundational literature is plagued by basic errors. Translations of Tajiri's original work use the term evolution to describe what is actually a sudden biological metamorphosis, conflating instantaneous physical change with the slow, generational process of natural selection. Taxonomists also misidentified sexually dimorphic taxa. Males and females of the same lineage, such as Nido king and Nido queen, were classified as entirely separate species. To correct these historical observational errors, we must move beyond superficial differences. By applying rigorous quantitative phylogenetics, we can model their true evolutionary history. The modern approach relies on Bayesian Markov chain Monte Carlo analysis. This mathematical tool sorts chaotic biological data to find the most probable structured evolutionary timeline. Since Pokémon molecular biology remains poorly understood, we cannot currently sequence their DNA. Instead, we must build this timeline using observable morphological traits and behaviors. We look for synapomorphies, shared derived characteristics passed down from a common ancestor. This data matrix tracks their elemental type, their body style, and their capacity to naturally develop over 700 specific combat moves and abilities. Feeding this behavioral and elemental data into modern bioinformatic algorithms strips away human observational bias. After 16 million simulated generations, the algorithms revealed the objective ancestry of the monstrosino. This phylogenetic tree is the first quantitative map of Pokémon evolution, organizing all 646 taxa into a single, comprehensive framework. The branch lengths indicate the passage of time since a shared ancestor. Taxa with highly unique movesets show a longer period of divergence from their closest relatives. By rooting the phylogeny at its midpoint, the model indicates that Pokémon life began in the water. The earliest basal taxa to reach their current evolutionary state were organisms similar to lampreys and primitive bony fishes. This singular aquatic origin point serves as the biological foundation for all Pokémon diversity, preceding a massive multi-front invasion of the land. The transition to terrestrial life occurred independently 3 separate times across the evolutionary timeline. The first invasion led to the evolution of the monophyletic ice types, starting from semi-aquatic ancestors like dugong. The second invasion involved the divergence of seabirds, leading to a massive monophyletic clade of flying types branching from the Pelipper lineage. From within the birds, the psychic types evolved. This group gradually traded physical flight for levitation, eventually developing into highly derived humanoid taxa like Mr. Mime. The third invasion consisted of a second wave of water types adapting to land, creating a vast ancestral pool of normal-type quadrupeds. This normal-type pool fractured into specialized groups analogous to earth mammals. Fire types arose from canine-like ancestors, while grass types evolved from hoofed ungulates. A Pokémon's elemental type correlates directly with its deep ancestral lineage. While most elements follow a strict ancestral lineage, the tree reveals anomalies where specialized types appear independent of their main groups. This is the result of convergent evolution, where unrelated species independently develop similar traits to adapt to similar environmental pressures. Electrode is a pure electric type, yet it sits within the steel clade. It shares a common ancestor with Magnezone, a dual-typed steel and electric taxon. This suggests the ability to generate and manipulate electricity is so advantageous that it evolved from scratch multiple times, overriding ancestral steel-type attributes in Electrode's lineage. These convergent anomalies validate the Bayesian model, as it correctly prioritized behavioral synapomorphies over superficial elemental grouping. The phylogenetic tree organizes taxa by morphology and combat moves, but this logic fails when cross-referenced with reproductive data. The 16 egg groups appear as a chaotic scatter across every major clade. We see a lack of post-zygotic reproductive isolation. Species from entirely different ancestral clades and vast physical sizes, like the 400-kilogram whale lord and the 11-kilogram skitty, successfully mate because they share an egg group. This disconnect between deep evolutionary lineage and modern reproductive capability presents a paradox that challenges the standard biological species concept. The method of inheritance is also atypical. Interbred offspring are never hybrids. They are always the exact species of the female parent, inheriting only specific moves or traits from the male. This asymmetrical transmission of characteristics contradicts Mendelian genetics. It suggests that the monstrosinues store and pass on information through a mechanism unknown to Earth-based biology. If Pokémon differ from animals and plants at the molecular level of inheritance, they cannot be classified within the existing tree of life. They remain a unique, isolated domain of biology.